At the moment, I'm 93, so I don't know how much longer the Lord is going to keep me around, but I'm so happy to be. I still get invited to schools and for celebrations, and it's kind of wonderful to be able to talk to them about the name of their school, Sister Anata. I'm able to talk to them about Father Fioderson and Father Michael, and because these are all my friends, and to be able to share that with the students, and it's a way of passing on their joy and their faith. They, I'm sure, are in heaven with the Lord, and these are their examples to them of what it means to be a real Christian, and what it means to be the kind of person that Jesus wants us to be, to share his love for us with everybody else we can, and I see that happening. For me, it's a great sign of joy, and it's wonderful to see. You know, I got to know Sister Anata very well, and you know, she was an incredible person, and she usually showed up at her school almost every day, and she would shake hands with all the students on the way in. She always had a great big smile on, and the children just replied with a beautiful smile. They felt so much at home with her. And you know, I often wonder, sometimes I wonder how many of those children in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 30 years' time will still be going to church. I don't know. But I know that none of those children will ever forget Sister Anata. I've had many friends. And during my life, because of my parents and my friends and relatives, teachers, I've been treated with joy. I've experienced joy. It's easy for me to be happy because people treat me with happiness and joy. And it's a mystery for me, you know, why. It's part of, I guess, the mystery of my vocation. Somebody would ask me every now and again, did you always think about being a priest? I said, no. How did it come? It just grew. Because and in so many ways, teachers were very kind to me, and I learned so much in so many ways from teachers. And so this is part of my life, and every now and again, somebody would surprise me. I'm in a public high school, and the principal says to me, Joseph, when you graduate, what are you going to do when you graduate from high school? I said, oh, I really don't know. He said, did you ever think of going to St. X University? I said, well, I'd love to. That'd be wonderful. I don't know where I could get the funds to get there. Well, he said, do you know there's a priest visiting from St. X in Sydney these days? Why don't you go and talk to him? About what? Well, about going to St. X. And then he said, and maybe to be a priest. This was a wonderful Anglican. I was saying, well, I guess, God in some way is calling me. God is, through these wonderful friends, God is calling me to be a priest. And that was it. But I think of the story that one of my teacher friends at Newman College said when a seminarian comes to him and he said, Father, I don't think I'm worthy to be a priest. I don't think I'm worthy to be a priest. And he said, get used to it. You're not worthy. But that's not why you could be a priest. It's God wants you to be a priest. God wants you to be a priest. And that was our dear friend who taught at Newman for many years. It was that kind of a mystery, and it still is a mystery. Why God ever asked me to become a bishop. That was the farthest from my thoughts. But that's what God wants. And God will give me whatever I need. And in so many ways, the challenges that I've had in trying to be a leader is, that I knew that the Lord was with me all the time, and people were with me. So when we try to establish organizations, a structure in the church, parish council, diocesan pastoral council, regional pastoral council, people reacted positively. That's the kind of people we are. So that would make me joyful, make me happy, and still does. As somebody who has been grateful, somebody who has understood how loving and merciful and friendly God has been to me. I've no illusions about my great intelligence and my great knowledge of lots of things. Whatever I have, God has given to me, and I've tried to use the best of my knowledge. There's so many things with Pope Francis that strikes me. The first few masses that he served publicly, he would say at the beginning of Mass, now we acknowledge our sinfulness. And then he stopped. He said, each one of us, I'm a sinner. I acknowledge to God my sinfulness and my need of mercy and forgiveness. He repeated that for several weeks. And from now on, he just figured, you understood what I'm saying. I'm a sinner. I'm a teacher. I try to set good example, but I'm a sinner. That's, one would say, well, that's humility. Well, it's truth. It's truth. And it's joyful in the mercy of God. So I don't dwell overly on my sinfulness. I rejoiced over God's mercy, God's forgiveness, God's sharing his love and care with me. And my struggle, attempts to share that kind of love and that mercy with others. It's been a great honor. Oh, there's so much love out there. There's so many people helping others. There's so much love and kindness, forgiveness. I see it in so many ways. Despite all the problems we have and all the troubles we have, there is so much forgiveness, so much mercy, so much reaching out. And that's the way I've been treated. Being allowed to be astounded that God could love me, that God could forgive me, that God could ask me to be a Christian, ask me to help one another, ask me to be a priest, ask me to be a bishop. I wondered, about that whole question about being worthy to be a priest, worthy to be a bishop. But long time ago, I knew I wasn't. I knew I'm not worthy to be a priest. I'm not worthy to be a bishop. But if the Lord allows me or expects me to be a priest, to be a bishop, I go along with it. God's on my side. That's wonderful. And I can then try to share that with others. It's not, because I got so much to give. And I'm absolutely amazed that many times in my life that I've been able to give leadership that were beyond anything I really expected. Yes and no. I certainly don't, dwell on it. But there's nothing else in a way for me but God's mercy and God's love. I'm living now with many people who are retired and whatever, and they're saints. They're saints, just waiting for God to take them, and they live in God's love and God's mercy, and they pray together. It's beautiful to see that. Son of God, God among us, God's love, God's forgiveness, God's example for us in the way He related to people, the way He encouraged them, that wonderful forgiveness, and the way He brought leadership. How did He choose the apostles? Why? They didn't study at Newman College. So they learned from Him by His example, by His forgiveness of them, His patience with them. There's a wonderful, in Ephesians, Paul is talking about, let's grow together into Christ, into the total, the cosmic Christ. So we're all being brought together through Jesus Christ to God the Father, to heaven. So we're part of that holiness. We're part of that life. And we're drawn up through Jesus, with Jesus, to God the Father. That's who we are. Humble and stupid as we are at times, but we're caught up in that maelstrom of love and forgiveness and kindness. So you heard me talk about John Paul II. Now how it was that the plans were to take him out skiing.
Jasper.
And Jasper. Security say, no, it's too dangerous out there now, so call it off. There's no plan B. Everybody goes, all the committees in charge of everything, they go for something to eat. So I'm with John Paul II, and we're at a table together, 5 or 6 of us, that's all. And I'm saying to myself, there's no plan B. So I said, well, look, he loves hiking and walking. So I started talking about Elk Island Park. And then his friend, the Polish doctor with him, said, Holy Father, that sounds like a place that we used to go hiking and walking. No. And then John Paul II said, yeah, we go. No. He didn't ask anybody. Maybe God, Jesus. I didn't ask anybody. That's how that decision was made. Just the 2 of us. That's how someone as powerful as a pope could be. A humble person saying, that makes sense. We'll go for a hike. He knows the territory. He's the bishop here. We go together. That's the relationship that Jesus has with each one of us.